All right, we're back again with another episode of Roofer Reflections. I'm really happy to have Tom here. Tom, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. Really happy to be here.
You're part of a sort of a design and development company.
Yeah. Mission Group Enterprises. It's a huge development company here in the interior of British Columbia. They do some really incredible projects, and I was working with their development team to help design something called Aqua, which is a large project here in Kelowna. And when the pandemic hit, just all those special projects were paused. And so a friend of mine who owns a large commercial roofing company here in town, he asked if I would come help him. We had seen some of the work that I had done in the past, and thought I might be able to help him get his repairs and service division going for his roofing company. I was like, all right, well, we're not doing anything else, and I'm happy to try. I don't really know anything about roofing, but I got into it and learned really fast. And so when we started that division, it was just a guy in a truck, and then we quickly expanded to several service vans, and carved out a really great part of the market for helping property managers and municipalities and basically anyone who manages large buildings.
And at some point, you decide to go off on your own?
Yeah, so I've always thought of myself as a bit of a builder and not so much of a manager. I think my time just felt like it was done there, and I noticed that there was a lot of roofing companies. Through that process, I met a ton of other roofing company owners, and one of the things that really stood out to me was that there was really not too many branding and marketing services that were available for just specifically for that industry. And so I thought, I could do this. I could help some of these other companies, get more confidence with their brand. Started off really slow, and then just kind of snowballed, and here I am 2 years later, and it's going really well. So.
What were some of the keys to sort of scaling out that service division as you were learning on the fly?
One of the things that I did before that was the development company that I worked with before actually had a dry storage marina. During that time, working with them, I realized quickly, if you just get organized, tighten things up, you can scale. And you also have to think outside the box. And so what I ended up doing was help them create something called a boat club. Instead of people buying and storing their boats with the company, they would purchase memberships into this boat club. And then they get to use any of the boats in the club. They're all fueled up and ready to go for them when they arrive. And so when I was doing that, there was so many different business considerations to take into account. But the main thing was, how do you get reoccurring revenue through the door with this same type of approach? With when I got into commercial roofing, I was like, how can we focus not on just responding to what's there, but how do we get on preventative, and how do we, create reoccurring revenue? So we developed, during my time there, we developed a program called Roof Care. And so that Roof Care program, it's all about preventative maintenance. So instead of reacting and going and fixing leaks when they happen, going out, sending out our teams to do preventative maintenance visits every year, whether it's 1 or 2 or sometimes 3 maintenance visits per year. And that kind of changed the momentum. There's a combination of things that helped that growth succeed. But the main thing was, how do we earn business, but then keep it and get reoccurring revenue through the door.
If someone was listening to this and saying, hey, maybe this is for me, what sort of advice do you have for them about, getting engaged or learning or getting started in the roofing industry?
I think that there's wide open spaces for people who are wanting to get some of the newer technology like AI and other marketing and branding and things like that in the industry. There's not too many people in this industry. There's less standardization. A roofing company could have a bunch of terminology for things on the West Coast, and it'd be completely different on the East Coast. And so I think it's one of those one of those areas, one of those industries that's still, even though roofs have been around since buildings, it's one of those industries that just hasn't fully, developed, like a HVAC or plumbing and things like that, where there's more standardization. And I think it's changing rapidly. So if you're interested in building something great and getting creative about how to service this industry, like, you should definitely look into it. And on the roofing side of things, like, if you're really interested in the trade itself, like, that too is becoming more and more a commodity. One of the things that has been really clear over the past few years is, number one, there is a lot more resources for like learning and training in that field, but also it's one of those things that is not going to be replaced by AI or by technology anytime soon. There are some really cool tools that have been developed for roofing, but I think it's going to be quite a long time before we have AI robots doing TPO welding on a rooftop. Like, there's just such a attention to detail that's needed for the actual application of it, and so I think that the people who work in that industry, even directly on the roof, are going to be needed more and more, and are going to be just more and more of a valuable commodity moving forward.